It's Tuesday the 28th of February. It's a cold and crisp morning. I think you can see my breath as I'm talking, but today is a fabulous day for the chickens. They are allowed to go outside. Now I've put in the extra biosecurity measures, which is just actually one extra foot dip because we've been pretty good with them so far. This morning we can let them out into the field. I did a lot of walking through at dusk yesterday, checking I couldn't find any poop in the field from non-chicken sources. And the only thing I found was a bit of hedgehog poop, which I think I've just celebrated actually. It was just nice to know there were hedgehogs around. So this morning, going through the breakfast routine with them, letting them out, but not into their runs, letting them out into their run and the field. Sometimes there comes a point in the day where I have to accept things aren't going to go the way I planned them to, or that I hoped they would. So this morning I was full of enthusiasm and excitement because today was the day that we were allowed to let the chickens out. I think there's a song in that somewhere, but today's the day that we were allowed to let the chickens out as long as we had met certain conditions laid down by the Welsh Government. And most of those are common sense things, and we were given a self-assessment risk assessment form. A self-assessment risk assessment form to fill out, which would help us to ensure that we've done everything we can to keep the chickens safe from avian flu. So I'd done all those things, so I filled out the form, which I have to keep in case anyone official wants to see it, and off I went this morning to let the chickens out. Now, the point where expectation met reality happened really early in the day, because I had expected to be able to open the doors for the chickens and for them to rush out into the field and make lots of lovely clucking noises and run around being so excited about being out. That's not what happened. And of course, if I think about it, it was never going to happen. What actually happened was that they very tentatively did the odd step just outside the door of the confines that they've been in, really confused about now being allowed to be out. And it took them about half an hour to get comfortable with the idea that they were no longer having to stay inside. It was really disappointing. I wanted that, spring lambs bouncing around the fields look. Well, except spring chickens bouncing around the field, and it just didn't happen. And it didn't happen in the mixed flock where Big Red is the rooster, and it didn't happen with Big White and his girls, or with the Australorp boys and girls, and it didn't happen with the ducks, although the ducks, I've got to say, were incredibly enthusiastic once they got the hang of being able to be out and about. They became very vocal and ran up and down quite rapidly. But that wasn't really how I'd expected it to be, so it was a bit of a letdown. Anyway, my plan was for them to go out and to be running around, and then I was going to come back inside and have a shower and wash my hair and put on a bit of makeup and crack on with the day. And I had a bit of writing to do and a bit of reading I wanted to do, and I knew we needed to go shopping. And what happened was I discovered that the new chicken house for the smallest chicks is leaking. As with almost any new house build, this house behind me, this chicken house behind me, needs a little bit of snagging work done on it. We've noticed a few problems with it, which I think are just about us putting it together. We did follow the instructions, but it doesn't necessarily mean we interpreted the instructions correctly. They were very small illustrations, and although we got the magnifying glass out, we still didn't necessarily do it correctly. So first job is to take one of the strips off the top and to move it a little bit. At the moment there seems to be rain getting into the hen house, which isn't really very much good for the chicks. Anyway, so I took the hinge off, repositioned it, and fingers crossed that might have done the trick. When I went and looked back later on in the day, it was damp, but not as damp, so I suspect there's still some water getting in somewhere. I haven't quite worked out where. So that was one distraction that I wasn't expecting. Next thing we found was that Mr. J told me that the Jersey Giants had all got out and were enjoying themselves in the food forest. and scratching about in that, so we had to gather them up and get them put back in and secure them back into the enclosure that they should be in. Then we had to fix a screw that had come out of one of the other chicken houses, which had made it very wobbly. Basically, it's been one of those days where every time I've thought I'll do one thing, I end up doing something else completely different. And so it's now 7:20 in the evening, and I've just got supper on, and that's going to take another hour to cook, and I haven't had the shower and washed my hair, and I haven't done all the reading that I was going to do, although I have done all the writing I was going to do. And usually by now I'm already editing my vlog and getting it uploaded to YouTube, and I'm hours away from doing that still. So it's just been one of those very peculiar days, and it hasn't been a bad day, it's just been a different day. Excuse me while I just have some tea. Yes, one thing that I do manage to do is still have a cup of tea. So yes, and all the lovely footage I was going to do of the chickens running around the fields having a wonderful time obviously didn't happen because there has been horizontal rain and driving rain, and it's been incredibly windy, and the times that it has been dry, we've been dashing out to get things fixed and to sort out the housing issues. I haven't taken my camera with me to do that because we just had to try and get the job done before it started raining again. So it's a bit disappointing, but I'm sorry I haven't, and I'm hoping that by tomorrow or the day after, when they've settled down, once again I can have some nice video of the chickens out enjoying themselves, doing the thing that they do best, which is scratching around in the ground and finding grubs and worms and bugs to eat. Now, my good news today is that the Jersey Giants have now started laying every day. So we've got 3 Jersey Giant girls who are at laying age, and they are producing a lovely egg each day, which means that when we put the incubator on next week, I will be able to do another hatch of Jersey Giants, which I'm very excited about. And we're now at the point just about where we can be fairly sure that they are going to be Jersey Giant babies as opposed to a cross between a Jersey Giant and an Australorp. And while we want to do some Jersey Giant Australorp crosses because we think that would be good, we just think it would be good fun, and they would be our birds, either as meat birds or as egg layers, and we wouldn't be selling them or offering the eggs for sale. At the moment I just want to do Jersey Giant eggs and Australorp eggs, so those ones are just pure breeds, but the girls starting to lay 3 eggs a day makes that a very real possibility. When Mr. J and I went shopping this afternoon, we bought a chicken. Shock horror, it's the first chicken we've bought in the shop for many months actually, but I was desperate for a piece of chicken, and we don't have one in the freezer from the chicken field, so that was the only option. Now I'm cooking it, it smells terrible, and I'm really not sure whether I want to eat it or not. There's a really plasticky smell about it, and I've pulled it out of the oven to have a quick look, and it looks fine. It looks fine, and I'm sure it will taste fine, but it smells really peculiar. And I don't know whether that's because we've got used to our free range, organically fed, homegrown birds, or whether in fact there is something off with this chicken that we've bought. And the only way to find out is to eat it. And if there's something wrong with it, we're going to make ourselves ill. So I just don't know what to do. It's one of those, I really want some chicken, and I've been craving some chicken for about 2 weeks now, and I've got to the point of thinking I'll gnaw off my own arm if I don't get some chicken to eat soon. So we've bitten the bullet and bought one, and now I don't know I can eat it because it just smells horrible. So we'll try it, and no doubt tomorrow I'll let you know whether the chicken that we've bought from the store was any good to eat at all, or whether in fact tonight we'll be eating just roast potatoes, although I'm cooking them in the same pan, so if it's not a good chicken I might not be eating the potatoes either. in which case supper tonight will just be carrots and peas and purple sprouting broccoli. So it might just be quite a skinny supper. We'll find out. If you're enjoying my vlogs, please leave a comment below, like the videos, and of course, don't forget to subscribe.